Hello gamers, how are you? Here's the straight scoop, homie. Hey homie, here's the straight scoop, okay? Today, we're gonna be doing anime tier list of all the shows I've watched from winter 2022 so far. I think I've watched probably close to 20, and I'm going to rank them from S tier to F tier. There will be a couple that are in the have not watched or caught up on tier, like Attack on Titan. Basically all the sequels I've not caught up on. And you're just going to have to make peace with your god about that, because they won't be going on this tier list. Most of the new ones will be, though. We give you a little mini review every time we go through some stuff, and then we're gonna crown the best anime of winter 2022. That's what this is. That's what a tier list does. This is the best one. Anyway, moving on. We're gonna go just down this list. First, I'm gonna go through all the ones I have not watched or caught up on. Attack on Titan, as mentioned before, have not caught up on. Demon Slayer, have not watched any or caught up on it. Takagi-san, Princess Connect, Sakiyuki Reload, Police in a Pod. I think that might be it. Oh, Ryman's Club, because it's not out yet. And Magic High School, Magic High, Ari Ferretta. There we go. There we go. Here's all the sequels. Look at this fat list. I guess we'll just start at the top of the list, at the top of this list, and work our way down. Cartel of Vanitas is up here too. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But only 2 that are new that we haven't watched yet. One of them's not out, and the other one I'm waiting to watch with Ducky. First, we're going to talk about Futsal Boys. Futsal is a sport. It's a real sport that exists that I definitely knew existed. It's tiny soccer played on a basketball court with a tiny net. Look at fucking spots in these glass. I can't see shit. You have one character that is super serious about futsal, and another character that's a prodigy that just likes to have fun. It's the Haikyuu story, but with tiny soccer. It also, funnily enough, takes place on a volleyball court, but it has been repurposed into a futsal court because, you know, nobody gives a shit about futsal. This is one of the 2 shows this season that actually made me laugh out loud. Oh yeah, by the way, here's another one that goes up in the did not watch. The Realist Hero. The Realist Hero that rebuilt the kingdom. Ain't none of that shit. This is one of the only 2 shows that actually made me laugh out loud at a joke. Except I don't think it was meant to be a joke. I think it was meant to be played seriously. There is a action scene early on when the main character discovers futsal for the first time. He walks up into the concourse during the under 18 World Cup of futsal that he apparently is at and didn't realize it. Dude on the court does gymnastics bullshit and rockets 25 feet in the air, and a dragon made of fire comes out of his foot, and he kicks the soccer ball into the net. I laughed so hard at that. It was insane. And then it happens again later in the episode with just some random kid. Except he has a dragon made of lightning come out of his foot. So, soccer, but elemental dragons is what this show is. It's fine. Mentioned in the Pretty Fly for Senpai preview podcast we did that this sounds like a sports-ass sports anime. It is a sports-ass sports anime. I'm putting it in D tier because it's kind of shittily animated. Yeah, if you like sports-ass sports anime and you just love sports anime, go for it. It's the same as all the other ones. Next, on to some isekai bullshit. We got Isekai Corner. Next 2 are straight-up isekai. Strongest Sage of the Weakest Crest. Basically, it's kind of an isekai. It's a pseudo-isekai. In this world, you are born with a crest that gives you a power, a certain affinity to magic. This guy was born with the weakest one, so he reincarnates himself thousands of years in the future and gets the crest he wants. He discovers that in this world, the strength of magic has drastically deteriorated. Nobody can cast spells wordlessly. They all have to do incantations, which is apparently a weaker type of magic. So he is training a school of children how to do wordless casting. I don't know. It's not great. He walks into like a weapons store and someone's trying to get an enchantment on a sword. The sword man's like, whoa, I can't make that sword that fast. I can't do an enchantment. You kidding me? What does this look like? I'm walking here. And the OP or the MC, who is OP, walks in and goes like, here's an enchantment. and it's enchanted. And everyone's like, holy fucking shit, did you know you could do that? Did you know we could do that? And they're like, no, that shit's bonkers. Yeah, so then he trains up people, this group of people. He learns that the demons that they were trying to fight with magic have infiltrated the Academy of Magic school children, and are telling all the magic school children that they need to do the vocal enchanting, which is worse. So the demons are controlling how weak the humans is. That's kind of the plot. That's where the plot leaves off. He discovers that there's a demon in the first academy, and he's in the second academy, which, you know, those rapscallions in the second academy doing their wordless casting. I don't fucking know. The show's okay. It's not animated great. There's really nothing noteworthy about it. I'd say it's better than Futsal Boys, so we're just putting it C tier for now. Next show is actually kind of interesting. I liked where it was going, called In the Land of Leadale. It's another isekai. This is a straight up like SAO VR Memorpaga isekai joint. Basically, the main character is on life support, cannot move, you know, hooked up to machines to live. The whole show starts with like a rolling power outage that hits the hospital that she's in, and she fucking dies. Like immediately. She's insta dead. And then she wakes up and she's in her VR MMORPG. But it's 200 years later. So her consciousness somehow escaped her body and is in the video game 200 years in the future. So all of her friends she played the game with that were real life humans are dead also. The first episode does some interesting stuff. Like, her character is treated like some kind of like myth of legend, where she made like a tower like home or whatever in the game. Like in Final Fantasy 14, you can build a house or whatever and decorate it and shit. This girl made like a giant fucking silver tower with like trials to run and shit, I guess. It's the lair of the like silver witch or some shit. It's kind of interesting that she's like legendary or whatever when she's been asleep for 200 years. It's not very original, but beyond that, other than, you know, it's somewhat interesting the fact that she just is dead in her fucking digital world. I'm guessing they're gonna reveal that, oh, actually you can come back to life. I'm sure that's gonna be a thing. I'd be more surprised if that wasn't the thing than if it was. I'm gonna go B tier for that. Next one's the first kind of banger show that I watched, called Slow Life. If I could describe it in one sentence, it is an emotional Trojan horse, if that makes any sense. Basically, it is a show that it's a moe thing. It is cute girls doing cute stuff, mostly centered around fly fishing and cooking. It's little tutorial things about how to fly fish, and here's recipes and dumb stuff like that. Basically, girl A goes to the pier and goes fly fishing and runs into girl B. So these two girls meet and they become friends, and then they learn that girl A's dad died and girl B's mom died, and they're both meeting their new stepfamilies tonight, and oh, what do you know, they're stepsisters now. Which is like, you know, oh no, funny plot, and then like immediately shifts into, hey, are you okay that your stepsister is sleeping in your dead dad's old office? And it fucking, like, I legitimately, like, welled up. The way they handle the emotional stuff and just snuck it in and just let you get gut punched occasionally by it, I don't know, it just got me. It just got me in it hit me in my sensitivity brain bits. Slow Loop is kind of one of my favorite shows this season so far. Torn between S and A tier. I think I'm gonna put it in S tier for now. It got me emotionally. We're doing good. We're doing real well. The Genius Prince's Guide to Raising a Nation Out of Debt. This show, it is about a prince of a kingdom who doesn't want to be the prince of a kingdom because people ask too much of him because he's the prince of a kingdom. So what he is trying to do is lead his country poorly, but not like obviously poorly, to the point where he can sell the kingdom and then just retire. It's the ProZD skit, the villain who accidentally keeps doing helpful things. He basically, in like a military situation, he'll give like a rousing speech or whatever, and then he put his army kind of in just a standard military formation against his opponent, and then he'll be like, all right, the opponent should put up a good fight. They should put up a good fight where we will need to withdraw after this engagement. and the enemy attacks him and they just lose because he gave too good of a speech. He raised morale too much. At the end of the episode, they win that fight, and they win it well enough to the point where he tells them, like, well, we should go and take their gold mine because that's the only strategically valuable piece of land that they hold, hoping that his advisors go, well, that's insane. It's so far away. Basically, they agree to it, and then it hard cuts to them having taken the mine, and they're like, wow, I can't believe we took the mine. He's like, well, what do we do now? And then that's where the first episode ends off. It's an interesting concept. I'm not sold on it yet because, boy, he's got two personalities. The personality when he's in front of his people is very like prim and proper and braggadocious, and then when he is alone, he's so fucking annoying that I don't want to watch it. But yeah, no, so he's an asshole. He's incredibly annoying. His aide seems to be much better. It's like a silver-haired girl. There's a couple of other women in it. It's fine. It's nothing special. I'm gonna put it in B tier, like, I'm gonna put it in C tier above Strongest Sage of the Week is Crest, just because I don't think it's gonna be that good. I hope that it can live up to its premise, but I just find the main character incredibly annoying. If he was less annoying and more just kind of funny, because it seems like most of the jokes are, haha, he said the smart thing when people were around, and then the people left, and he made the ugh face and talked in a very whiny voice. And that's most of the jokes. It's not bad. It's not great. It's fine. Up next is Tribe 9. It is extreme baseball. Imagine a world where street gangs became so prevalent that the government had to make a law stating that all gangs had to settle their differences via game of extreme baseball, where you have to run multiple city blocks to get to first, second, third, and home plate. That is what Tribe 9 is. It is extreme baseball with like laser balls and laser bats and robot suits. It is directed by the guy who did Danganronpa. All the characters look like Danganronpa characters. Tribe 9. Oh yeah, because there's 9 players on the field. And all the different gangs are called tribes. Get it? Get it? Tribe 9. I'm not a fan of any of the characters. I'm really not. The characters are pretty boring. You have super cool guy who wants to play baseball. You got other super cool guy who's real strong. You've got token lady. You got your token big guy. You got your token like, oh, I'm so scared guy. It's like a sports anime with just a little bit of a twist thrown in. Also, 9 and ball sound the same in Japan. Oh shit, look at you. God damn, Rain. Bringing the knowledge. Thank you. I appreciate it. Basically, in the first episode, the token scaredy cat goes from being a scaredy cat to, I like baseball now. And that's kind of, well, I can get my hands on a nice anime podcast. Boy, do I have a podcast for you. It's called Pretty Fly for a Senpai. It is an anime podcast where myself, Shark Wellington, and Hero19X talk about anime seasons in their entirety and review them. We also had an episode where we previewed all of these shows a couple weeks before they came out, where we get to talk about them in depth. We got some things wrong on that show. And that's fine. See, life is about learning from your mistakes and growing, which you can do if you choose to go listen to Pretty Fly for a Senpai. Go give it 5 stars out on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, please, if you would. We'd appreciate it. Thank you very much. Tribe 9 goes in probably bottom of C tier. It's like barely above Futsal Boys. It's just not interesting to me. That's all I have to say about it. It's pretty generic, pretty boring, pretty lame stuff. Now we're kind of getting into stuff that's interesting to talk about. You guys like feet? If you like feet, boys, Akebi Sailor Uniform for you. Honestly, Akebi Sailor Uniform is probably the best animated show this season. Unfortunately, it is very clearly a show that is a bunker buster, precision targeted at a specific fetish that may or may not be to your liking. Feet is that fetish. The plot of the show is, for the most part, entirely wholesome. Akebi is a middle schooler who got accepted into a middle school that her mother went to, where they wore a sailor uniform. She gets accepted and her mother makes her a sailor uniform. And she goes to the orientation. All the girls are there and they're all dressed up in their current in the school's uniform, but it's not a sailor uniform. It's blazers and ties. Oh no. She talks to the administration. They go, oh, you were just so excited about the sailor uniform, we couldn't tell you at the time. But you can wear your sailor uniform if you want, because you're so excited for it. But you'll be the only one who's wearing that uniform, so you're gonna stand out. Oh no, you're gonna be isolated. You're gonna be ostracized. What's gonna happen? She decides to wear the sailor uniform. She goes to school on the first day of class and meets a girl and makes a friend. However, literally every minute of that plot has some form of a close-up shot of a foot, whether it be a shoed foot or a bare foot with wiggling toes, and the toes stretch out and they intermingle. And then when she meets her friend in the school, this girl is clipping her toenails, and then she decides to smell the toenail clippers, and Akebi goes, hello? And the girl goes, oh no, I'm so embarrassed. You saw me sniffing my toenail clippers. It helps me ease my anxiety. And Akebi goes, really? And smells her own foot and goes, that's kind of weird, but this is a quote, I could see how you could get off on that. 11-year-olds. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a show that feels like a trap, because if you criticize it for being the laser sight bunker buster fetishization show that it is, fans of the source material that are in it for the wholesomeness will go, well, we're not the weird ones sexualizing it. You're weird for criticizing it for being sexualized. And then the people who are clearly watching it for underage foot blend in with that criticism. I mean, sure, it's cartoon girls, it's still fucking weird. I'm gonna say it. It's fucking weird. If you're into this show for the feet, you're fucking weird. The show is put up by the Japan equivalent of the FBI for entrapment. True. If you look at the plot, sure, it's entirely wholesome. But if you look at the direction of the show, the way it is directed, the way it is shot, the way shots are framed, what the focus of the shot is, I'd say probably 10% of this show is weirdly gratuitous foot shots. It is a pseudo-sexualization of a young girl. The dude does not abide. It is beautifully animated. That's the one thing it has going for it. It's fucking creepy, though. If you're into that thing, we can't be friends. We have a blood feud now. But Akebi's sailor uniform goes in F tier because the content of that show is fluffy and has nothing going for it, and the undertones of it are entirely too creepy for me to even want to entertain the idea of watching more of it. And Akebi got dropped. I gave it a 2. The only reason I gave it a 2 is because the worst episode of anime ever fucking made is also on this list. What anime did you watch that was that bad this season? That's why you're gonna watch. You're gonna watch till later, till we get to it. See, that's a tease. That's what we in the business call a tease. Requiem of the Rose King. It is an anime historical fiction retelling of the War of the Roses with Henry the Sixth. It's the Lancasters versus the Yorks for the crown of England. The main character is Richard Plantagenet. Boy, they really take some liberties with the way that it happened. Richard Plantagenet, the main character, in this story, they say was neither born male or female. And when they say was neither born male nor female, they mean born with dude bottom, lady top. In reality, Richard Plantagenet was just an effeminate-looking man. He was a spy who would present as a female and gain access to areas he otherwise would not be allowed. Get into royals' bedchambers and whatnot. My issue with this show is that they fucking speedrun this history. They speedrun it so fucking fast. Like, they literally go from 0 to 100. Because Richard starts originally as, like, a child, and then becomes, like, a more grown, like, teenager. It is so... I'm so confused by it. Like, honestly, it sounds interesting. It's so... I'm having a hard time just breaking through that barrier to even begin understanding what it is I'm even watching. The editing is frenetic and wild, and you don't know if what you're watching is real or a dream, but you also don't have an established setting or time period yet. Other than it's in the War of the Roses, Joan of Arc shows up as like a sleep paralysis demon, a fucking trip of a first episode. If they can slow it the fuck down, it could pull itself out. However, I don't foresee that happening. I have to put it in E tier. It has the possibility to be 100% dropped. It has the potential to move up. Or, yeah, if it's just as impenetrable in episode 2 as it was in episode 1, I'm out 100%. All right, Sabikui Bisco. The synopsis of this show does not do it any favors. However, the show itself is fucking bonkers. The animation is great. I do like the femboy doctor. Basically, there's a disease that people think comes from mushrooms called the rusting. And once you catch it, all you can do is slow it down, and there's no cure for it. Whereas this doctor thinks mushrooms are the cure, and mushrooms can slow down this rusting. But owning mushrooms is illegal. So far, the action is really cool, really good. The character stuff is really good. The animation's really good. It is very detailed, very well drawn, well animated. Femboy doctor, his sister is afflicted with the rusting, so he's trying to cure her. But she is also the head of the watch. Basically, she's a cop who is trying to kill Bisco, who is trying to get mushrooms to fucking cure the rusting that she has. It's very interesting web that we find ourselves in with this story, and the fact that it's also well animated is really nice. I'm going to be watching probably episode 2 tonight, but as of right now, it's boop. Get up in S tier, you beautiful son of a bitch. It's probably my favorite show of the season so far. I would highly recommend if you're gonna watch any new show. Sabikui Bisco is number 1 on that list. Up next is My Dress Up Darling. The show is it's too horny for its own good. It is a cute show, but damn, is this show entirely too horny for its own good. How can anything be too horny? I mean, go ahead, watch the first 2 episodes, especially episode 2 of My Dress Up Darling, and you'll see what I mean. Cloverworks, which animated Akebi's sailor uniform, also is animating My Dress Up Darling and 24th Ward Tokyo. So far, 2 of the 3 Cloverworks projects have had prominent foot placement. They got feet. It's kind of 2 people who are passionate about the things they want to do, about their hobbies, and coming together and making cool stuff together using the skills gained from those passions. The first episode is them kind of meeting, and the second episode is learning how passionate she is about these games, and then he has to take her measurements. That's the horny bit. It lasts like a good 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes of dude getting sweaty and nervous about having to take the girl's measurements as she's standing there in a bathing suit. That's really what the second episode is. I'm hoping that episode 3 gets more back into them hanging out and making stuff instead of just being practically naked all the time. It's still wholesome in the second episode, just in a different way. Hornsome. That's what this show is. It's a hornsome show. This show is probably my second favorite of the season just because it has that kind of it's hornsome. I've already said that. Horny and wholesome. Hornsome. That's what I'm here for, to find out what the new horny jail anime series are going to be. Oh, it's this one. If you want to profess your love for a show and go to jail for it, Akebi's sailor uniform is for you. Look into my eyes. Do you like feet? Are you a big fan of them tootsies? Gonna say no? Well then, don't watch Akebi's sailor uniform because, boy, there are far too many shots of very well animated feet in that show for your taste. And my taste. That's why it's down in F tier. Next on the list is the guy. Okay, this one has a crazy long name. I gotta find it. Life with an ordinary guy who reincarnated into a total fantasy knockout. Say that 3 times fast, motherfucker. There are 2 guys. There's a handsome gentleman. He works very hard and he is very attractive and he gains the attention of all the women, except he is not interested in women. The only person he is interested in is his best friend. And his best friend always gets girls taken away from him because they all like the first guy. The handsome man, his best friend is his oasis, and he doesn't want anybody to take his oasis away from him, so he intentionally sabotages all his friends' relationships. Because once he gets a girlfriend, then he can't hang out with him as much anymore. It is possessive and messed up. The friend gets ass blasted drunk, and says, I wish I could be a woman. I want everybody to fawn over me so I can have a good time with friends doing the fun things with other people instead of just being with you nerd. And then the goddess from another world of love and beauty shows up and basically grants his wish. and takes them to another world. Now that my best friend is in a hot girl body, I wanna do my 6 to midnight parts are feeling real tingly and frisky. I don't know, it's weird. Shark, I think, put it best. Straight people having unstraight thoughts and not really knowing what to do with them, so they just take those thoughts and make them as straight as possible. Handsome dude loves his best friend, probably romantically, but wouldn't ever dream of having a romantic relationship with his best friend until he turns into a girl. Oh, now that we're opposite gender and sex, let's go. Time for relationship things to happen. It's pretty well animated, and it is somewhat funny. I actually chuckled at some of the jokes, but I could see the shtick getting real tired. I was almost tired of it by the end of the first episode. It goes in E tier. It could be funny, could be good. I'm probably not going to be sticking around for it, though. This show is the equivalent of a shirt you see at the mall that says, "I'm not gay, but $5 is $5. But also, it's not gay if you were a dude and turned into a lady. In parentheses below that line. They're just lying to themselves. They just are trying to fight their inner feelings. And I don't like anime that are that way. I like anime where people are being honest with themselves and their feelings. I think that's why I don't like it very much. Is because it doesn't feel like the people are being genuine with themselves. Like the handsome character loving his best friend but not telling him or saying, hey, maybe we should be a thing, or saying, hey, whatever, like having a conversation about it, or just being like, well, no, that's not romantic love. That's just bros being bros. But now that she's a girl, now they're both like, I don't know, I kind of like that guy now, or my best friend, in a way that's more romantic than best bro love, but they're not talking about it and they're not being honest with themselves. I don't like those shows. I don't like that at all. That's why I like another one of the episodes that we're going to be talking about coming up later on this list. See? Another tease. The common theme down here is that the show is well animated, but I can't get down with the fucking concepts. I can't get down with the concepts. I can't get down with the fucking 10 million lumen spotlight that is shining on underaged girl feet. Whatever. If you got a foot fetish, that's fine. It's fine to have a foot fetish. It's fine. It's okay. Here. Look me in the eyes. It's fine. It's okay if you have a foot fetish. It's totally fine. If the feet you're interested in are attached to very young people, I'm going to suggest you get help. Not okay, though? No, feet, it's fine. If you have a fetish for it, it's fine. It's how the brain is wired. The part of your brain that recognizes feet is very close to the part of your brain that registers sexual arousal. If those wires get all crossed up, there you go. You're screwed. On a physiological level, you're done. Your life is over. You're just attracted to feet. You got a shit hand. Sorry. But that's just the way it is. Tokyo 24th Ward. On to that. Got an hour-long episode 1. Hour-long episode 1. 3 friends. Red hair, green hair, blue hair. They're called RGB. Get it? Funny joke. Hair's all different colors. It's very cool. Some of the animation's a little janky. Some of the 3D's a little janky, but the plot hooks itself is a really fucking cool idea. Basically, there's a Minority Report style pre-crime system that has been established that will figure out the probability of a crime happening in any given area at any given time. There's a lot of really cool cyberpunk shit. There's brain hacking, there's the pre-crime shit, there's this friend ghost thing. It's all very interesting. It's all super cool. I'm hoping that they keep it up. I know there's a second episode that's out. I haven't watched it yet. I'm putting it in A tier. Even the setting in this is crazy. So Tokyo 24th Ward takes place in a post-World War II Japan where the United States of America annexed Japan and built an artificial island off the coast of Tokyo, and that's the 24th Ward, and that's where all these kids live. I recommend Tokyo 24th Ward. It's cool. It's a very cool show. It's got style. I'm not a big fan of the 3D that they use, but the way the 3 characters interact with each other and make decisions is very interesting and cool. On to way less good stuff based on a gacha game. Girls Frontline is a pure mobile game shill trash. Top to bottom, it is a garbage television show that is not interesting, that literally exists to sell you waifus that are named after guns. One of the character names is literally M4 Sopmod 2. You have AR-15, M4A1, Scorpion with a K, you know, like the gun. If you wanted upskirt shots of maids that have turrets coming out from said skirts, this is the show for you. As long as you're also into really bad animation. Show's not good. Not a good show. Not a very compelling show. They already have introduced, like, every character's a trope. One of the characters is like, I'm the leader, but I'm not very confident in my abilities. And then you've got, like, the cool friend that's like, you're good at your job, M4A1. You can do it. I believe in you. And then you've got the crazy girl that's doing wild shit. She just wants to murder. I don't remember the fourth girl of the main four girls. I don't know. It's a dumb show. It's a dumb show that is about a gacha game. As of right now, so far on the list, worst show of the season so far. Moving on to Q. Kind of a waifu show. This is another one that's a mobile shill game. It's a mobile game shill show with literally 15 waifu characters that are introduced in the very first episode. Basically, there's a new voice acting talent agency opening up, and these characters are all, you know, they're doing voice acting things, and then they all do a reading of the famous scene from Hamlet, the "To Be or Not to Be," and that's the first episode. I don't know, if you're a theater kid, maybe this show is more your speed. This one is pretty close to being dropped because it seems none of the girls seem interesting from a personality perspective. None of the girls seem interesting from a looks perspective. It goes in E tier. I don't get idol culture in Japan. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. We're going to talk about Orient. Orient is a poorly animated shonen boy action story. Basically, two young boys grow up in a world where one of their fathers was a samurai who killed demons. And now the demons are in power, and they are punishing all the samurai and descendants of samurai. And everybody loves the demons and hates the samurai. You're a poorly animated shonen. No, you. So, long story short, the mining guy they get told, like, you're gonna get this great job as a miner. You're gonna go and mine rocks and do cool things, and basically they get into the mining, and then there's these big giant demons, like literally like 2 feet in the door. They're like, oh, by the way, yeah, the demons really are evil. Like mustache twirlingly fucking evil shit. And all these people like, oh no, we never would have suspected the demons were evil. Oh no. Whereas the red-haired boy's like, I knew they were evil the whole time. And then he rides blonde-haired boy on like a motorcycle, and they kill some demons, and that's kind of the end of the first episode, and it's all not very well animated. Don't bother. If you want to watch a shonen boy shonen anime this season, just watch Demon Slayer. If you want to watch shonen boy anime where they kill demons in a way cooler way than they do in Orient, Demon Slayer's mid. Demon Slayer is fucking Citizen Kane compared to Orient. I'll tell you that right now. This is a fucking F tier. Orient is bad. Demon Slayer is Avengers Endgame compared to Orient's Thanksgiving 3. Next show is, what's the name of this fucking thing? Miss Kuroitsu from the Monster Development Department. Basically, so this is like a comedy. Like, imagine Power Rangers-esque shows, except it is basically a company that is making the monsters from those shows. This Monster Development Department develops a monster that is like specifically designed to kill their enemy, and their evil overlord, who is literally a child, walks in and goes, make it cuter. So they have to make it cuter. They basically turn the giant wolf man into a wolf girl that has a crippling case of gender dysphoria. There was what was it? There's like a fucking manager for the development department. He comes in, he's like, I've been noticing some poor poor performance coming from this department lately. Is there anything? What's going on? You know, they're like, oh no, we're gonna get fired. And the manager's like, if you need to take some time off and recuperate. You are our best asset. And shit like that. Like this weird morale pump up shit that you wouldn't expect to come out of the face of like this intimidating, monstrous presence. It's really funny. It does have some very funny jokes. This was probably the third time I laughed out loud. I laughed out loud at Dress Up Darling. I laughed out loud at Futsal Boys, but mostly because of how ridiculous it was. This was the second actual joke that I laughed at. It could be okay. I hope they lean harder into the funny parts. I'm gonna put it in C tier. Actually, you know what? I'll put it in C tier. If you want to see the worst episode of anime I've ever seen, watch She Professed Herself Pupil of the Wiseman. It's going in F tier right away. There's a VR MMORPG. A guy makes a character resembling Gandalf, uses some special currency to initiate a character appearance change in the game, and becomes a cutesy little girl. Here's how the episode goes, though. They spend the first, 4 minutes of the show kind of explaining to you what this game is. The next 13 minutes shows basically a lot of the main characters, but it doesn't show them being cool. It, hard cuts to a cutesy pink-haired girl wearing Gandalf's clothes, and it's totally fucking silent, and it shows this character going from a field, and they run into some shenanigans, and they talk to people, and they kill a goblin. They don't do anything interesting. And then it is totally silent. There's no sound effects. There's no music. No, there is music. The music is fucking terrible. Audio mixing is awful. At some points, the music sounds like it is overpowering everything in the scene. There's a battle scene. I forgot about the fucking battle scene with the jankiest 3D models of the season. And Rusted Armors is a show that came out this season. And that looks like some season 1 Ruby shit. Like almost X-Arm levels. And this is worse than that shit. Fucking, they give you a taste of everything this show has to offer, and every little piece of it is garbage. Pure fucking trash. No part of it is redeemable. I searched so hard to find something that's good, and the only thing I could think of is the cutesy girl character that the main character turns into is kind of cute, but poorly drawn and animated. So it doesn't fucking matter. What else has Studio A-Cat done? Kinda nothing. Nothing really. Sort by score, please. What's the best thing they've done? Battle game in 5 seconds, and it has a 6.82. That tells you everything you need to know. Truly shit. Do not watch it. 1 out of 10. If I could give it a 0, I'd give it a 0. Fuck this show. Fuck this studio. I'm sure that there are some wonderful people that worked on it. You made a shit anime. Really bad. Also, they have a really bad habit of telling you rather than showing you. There's a conversation between the Gandalf character and the ruler of a kingdom. Basically, they have this big, long, highfalutin, high-level, conversation, and then they go into, some back room, and they go, that was some great role-playing. I did a really good job of learning my role from watching those movies that I based my character on. And then the ruler of the kingdom's like, yeah, I seem to remember going to those movies with you 3 times each and having to pay for it. Nobody fucking talks like this. You can tell that it is clearly they're trying to tell me, the viewer, that this is, see, they're friends in real life. These two characters are going to talk about a thing that they would never talk about at this point because they've been playing this game for years. Why the fuck would they talk about it? Then they talk about, basic game mechanics. And I'm like, you guys are, ruler of a kingdom and, the best mage in the game. Why are you talking about basic battle mechanics and how the game works to each other? You clearly understand how it works. The only reason you would talk about this is to explain it to me, the viewer. Go watch the fucking Platinum End YouTube video. I hate it when a writer does not have any faith that an audience is smart enough to understand the basics of rules in a situation. I don't need this shit explained to me. Just show me it once or twice and most of us will get it. And those who don't, maybe give them a coloring book. Anyway, She Professed Herself Pupil of the Wiseman is a shit show. Do not watch it. Don't waste your time. Namaste. Sorry, I got worked up. At least with Dolls Frontline and Orient, they are what they say on the tin. Crap shows, shilling mobile game. Let's move on to the next show, which is actually interesting. Next show is Sasaki and Miyano. It is a boys love show. Miyano, the smaller boy, has a feminine face and he reads boys love comics. And he worries about how girly his face is, and he has an encounter with his senpai, and then they interact, and the more they interact, the more Sasaki falls in love with Miyano. They're being honest with their feelings. Miyano is, I guess, straight. Sasaki is coming to terms with his sexuality, and he's feeling a feeling of love towards Miyano that he's never felt before. And he's trying to be as honest with his feelings as he can, but he's a dumb teenager in high school doing awkward, dumb teenager things that we've all done when you have a crush on someone. And that's kind of this show. Kind of straightforward romance you've seen done before in a heterosexual manner, but done very naturally between two men. It's interesting. I'm enjoying watching it. This is what I was talking about earlier when I was talking about I like shows that have honesty in their characters. Stupid Fantasy Knockout Bishoujo. Two characters that all of their conflict and humor comes from them actively trying not to believe the things they feel inside and explain them away as some kind of cosmic curse. Whereas in Sasaki and Miyano, it's a believable character study of a person who's coming to terms with their sexuality and having a crush on someone who may or may not reciprocate it back in more ways than one, but they just want to be around that person. They try. I don't know. I'm very interested to see where this story goes. And the fact that they are believable teenagers doing believable dumb teenager things, like saying awkward things around each other and doing awkward things around each other. It reminds me of high school in both good and bad ways. I like it. I like it a lot more than your perfect sugar-coated marshmallow fluffy perfect high school romance story. So if you're into romance and feeling the way you potentially felt in high school, watch Sasaki and Miyano. It's a real good show. It's an S tier. It's probably my second favorite show of the season behind Sabikui Bisco. Now we're on to kind of my biggest disappointment of the season, I guess. I don't know yet. The first episode of Love of Kill was kind of yikes. I'm gonna say it was kind of yikes. In the synopsis, it says he leaves her presence in the form of her targets battered and ready for the taking. However, in reality, what happens is he offers her target as long as she'll go on a date with him. And over the course of this date, he controls how she acts, what she does, and in the end tries to pressure her into sex. It feels like 50 Shades of Grey, but bounty hunters and serial killers, but also it's kind of hard to watch at some points. There's some weird fucking choices they made. There's this dude who's a member of the bounty hunter office that Chateau Dankworth is a part of that just has no mouth, and he's voice acted in the most fucking annoying way. It's Christmas time, and this character sets up a Christmas tree and just says, "Mary, Mary, Mary." He just says that over and over and over again. And it is the most fucking annoying shit. I'm not that far off from the voice either. "Mary, Mary, Mary" is awful. It is the most... Here, we'll pull it up. I don't even fucking care. We'll pull it up. I want you all to suffer with me. Where is the Christmas tree? Here it is.
Mary, 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 Mary.
Nah. It's real fucking bad.
Mary.
It's the most annoying character in the world. Never seen a more annoying one in my life. I was real hyped about this show. I hope they would lean into the goofy campiness of the plot and get into weird, relationship shit, but they did not do that. They did not lean into that in any way, shape, or form. but instead they kind of made it a weird, like, quid pro quo relationship bit that doesn't work for me. If you're into that whole sub-dom thing, sure, but throughout the episode you see that Chateau clearly is not into that. The only reason she's doing any of it is to get this target. Like, she shows up late to the date so that he'll hopefully want to cancel, and then basically tries to escape him at any given opportunity. It feels like a weirdly abusive stalker situation that I am very disappointed this show went in that direction. I hope they can pull it back on course with something a little maybe more goofy and more fun, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening, unfortunately. This one's gonna go in D tier. It's gonna go above Futsal Boys. The content in there is not for me. So there's the fucking list. Look at that list. That's a beautiful fucking list. Sabikui Bisco, Sasaki and Miyano, My Dress Up Darling, Slow Life, 24th Ward of Tokyo. Those are the 5 shows I would recommend. Ryman's Club looks so fucking cool. I didn't want to wait a month to do this tier list. Otherwise, I would have watched this. When I watch it, I will update this list or put a letter somewhere. What are you gonna fucking do? You can't win them all. I want badminton in my life. We're a grown-ass man badminton competition. Fuck yeah, let's go. I'm in. I'm all the way in on it. So, that's that. This is the tier list. Done. Finito. Sabikui Bisco, the best show of winter 2022. Sasaki Miyano, number 2. Worst show, anime show, potentially of all time. She professed herself Pupil of the Wiseman. That wraps it all up. We're gonna do a anime OP tier list. We're gonna do the OPs from all these, rank them. This is not something we're gonna update throughout the year. It's just too much fucking anime. I got other shit I need to watch for, like, the podcast. Pretty fly for a senpai. You watch it on Spotify or listen to it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, go ahead and give it a rating. 5 stars, please. Thank you very much.